So I'm gonna show you how I grow yucca, right? The root in a container. This is going to be rather underwhelming because there really isn't much to it, right? The same way that something would grow in the ground, it would grow in a pot. But you do have to remember there is less biodiversity inside a pot than there would be inside the ground. Well, these are babies, but they're grown from cuttings, right? So the cuttings just go straight to the ground, and I have drip water irrigation. It gets about 1/8 of a gallon twice a day, so a quarter of a gallon. It's sharing spot with another two. Just planting a little bit too close together, so I might dig one up. And this is a watermelon, but literally you can see the type of soil it's growing in. It's called loam soil, so it's not very good soil, but it'll grow. Well, what about containers, right? So let me show you what I like to do when it comes to yucca and any other plants that I'm first growing out. I like to take a big container, so this one, it's pretty good. It's about 15 gallons, and you can see there's a bunch of biodiversity at the bottom. But same concept. I put it in here. I put a layer of mulch. Obviously the mulch is not necessary, and it gets watered with the same type of emitter, same amount of water a day, and you can see that it continues to grow. Now, one issue that I foresee having with the in container is that yucca is pretty big. Like yucca gets maybe like 8 to 12 inches root wise, so this might be the yucca that you have to harvest early, or your mother yucca, which you can cut up and plant in more places. I foresee that being one of the main issues. So what kind of soil did I use? Well, it wasn't good soil. Same soil that I had. I just had a bunch of it left over, and I put it in the pot and called it a day. Put a layer of mulch on it and watered it. The one thing about planting soil, for any soil to become plantable, right, is it needs to be moist. It needs to be wet, right? So some people will grab poor soil, put a seed in it and water it, expect it to not be watered every day, or expect it to not be watered for a week and have no success. Well, you see that when you have soil. Well, here I had two trees that were in pots, but I just sold them because they were my prefer. You can see that the irrigation is still set up, and you can see that the soil right here, same type of soil, has become extremely soft, and things can go through it. So what I'm trying to say is that I wouldn't spend too much time on super nice soil when you can just get that big bag of Home Depot soil and call it a day. One thing you do have to remember about yucca is that it is a root. So if you are planting in a pot, you might want to add things like wood chips to improve the drainage, right? I don't particularly use perlite when it comes to root soil or root vegetables, because I've cut open potatoes and there's been perlite in it, so I'm just like, doesn't really make sense. Wood chips, wood bark, etc., peat moss, things to break up the continuation of the soil, the clumpiness, will be very beneficial when it comes to growing yucca inside a pot. However, if you are familiar with the way that it grows, you could definitely grow yucca in like a very, very wide pot, but very shallow pot. That's not very beneficial to most people, but at that point you might as well just put it in the ground and get it completely grown. Because like, okay, sure, it's in a pot there, right? And cool, it's in a pot, but it's taking up the same amount of spot. I get it, some people have concrete like backyards, stuff like that, but I will not particularly be growing again in the pot because it takes the same room, and it would grow a little bit more crippled. Anyways, hope this helped, and I hope you learned something.